women get raped, but I didn't know children would, because we're innocent. We have nothing to give. We're children.
Not a one of us could say exactly, I don't know how I do this thing, because we've seen probably the ugliest things humans can do to a child. We've seen it, we've witnessed it, we've written about it, we've diagrammed it, and we've photographed it. While spending the night at a girlfriend's house, the girlfriend's brother approached her and sexually molested her during the night.
In Mesa County, more than 500 children per year are harmed by sexual or physical abuse. In Colorado, Mesa County is second only to Jefferson County in the number of child sexual assault cases filed per capita. These children need the careful attention of trained professionals to address their special needs. Hi, I'm Kira Bresnahan. The Western Slope Center for Children is part of a nationwide effort to reduce the trauma of abuse and provide a healing environment for children and their non-offending family members. Since its inception in 1997, the Western Slope Center for Children has served nearly 3,000 abused children. The center is part of a team of agencies working together to fight sexual abuse in Mesa County. This team consists of members from local law enforcement agencies, the District Attorney's Office, the Mesa County Department of Human Services, mental health professionals, and Mesa County Sexual Assault Nurse Examiners Program. This unique combination of professionals ensures that victims are not further traumatized by a system and its regulations that are meant to protect them and prosecute the offenders. Service providers come to the child rather than the child being referred from agency to agency, a process that results in many children and their families giving up and slipping through the regulatory cracks. The Western Slope Center for Children is the hub for this team of agencies.
I have been so impressed by the professionalism, the warmth, the acceptance that I've seen by the staff. The families come in here scared to death. They have no idea what to expect. They know something, their world is about to be turned upside down.
It's like really, really comforting to know that there's actually people that will listen to you, and they do really seriously believe the children, and they'll do whatever it takes. And I just think it's really great to have that sitting right there, right when you walk in. So.
I've said this a ton of times, I can't say enough great things about the Western Slope Center for Children. I always look to, if I ever had to take my child in to be interviewed for a horrendous crime such as a sex assault on a child or a rape or something of that nature, you never want to have to go into a situation where it's this dingy, not well lit police department, really cold feeling. It just starts the whole process out as being scary. I think with the Western Slope Center for Children, whenever you have, it's almost like a home for a family to come to, and you start that secure, safe feeling. It's almost like a safe haven for a child that has to report a crime. And going in there, the families automatically feel like, okay, we've got some help. We're doing the right thing. We feel embraced. We have all the information. It's a good resource. It's a good, safe place for my child to be, and we're doing the right thing by reporting the crime. And we know that from here on out, we'll always have somebody there by our side to walk us through this process.
Come here, helps you understand.
I was terrified, and right after I got here, they were right there, feeling sorry for me, trying to help me. And for some reason, all my terrifying fear ran away, and I felt at home, I felt safe, I felt happy.
I remember being so scared, not knowing what to do. I wanted to take her and wrap her in my arms and just run away so she'd never get hurt again. She was starting to go in the protection mode. She was off the emotional he hurt me, and he was starting to try to push people away so they wouldn't be able to see what happened. And I was starting to get worried about that. So we walked in here, and it was so awesome because 2 people came out of the office right away and says, "Welcome, come on in, come on, play with some toys." So she didn't feel like she had done wrong or she was here for a doctor appointment or to talk to the cops. It was toys. It was awesome.
The process for children and families at the Western Slope Center for Children begins with them being greeted when they first come in the door, that there's somebody there that will interact with them, the families and the children. There's a playroom for the children to be at so that they can have a few minutes to adjust to the setting. We can do our first stages of our forensic interview, which is basically that they get to meet who we are. We have a brief conversation. We can do some developmental assessments and begin our process.
The kids know that the bad guys aren't coming there. Okay, this is not a place for the bad guys. The person that hurt them is not coming to this facility. They'll never come to this facility. So there's a sense of security, a sense of relief.
When I got here, I felt like everything was okay. No one told me that it's not true, you're a liar. They believed me with everything. So I like it here a lot.
In this building, whether it's a law enforcement, it's DHS, it's one of us, we simply say nothing you did was wrong. We want to hear your story. It's your story. We never say, "Are you sure you're telling us the truth?" We simply say, "It's your story. You have a right to tell us. It stays here. It's safe. There are no secrets."
It's all under one roof, which makes it nice and convenient. It makes it very conducive to eliciting, interviews from kids who are talking about horrible things that happened to them. And you can imagine if you're talking about the worst possible thing that could happen to a child, you don't want that child talking about that in a principal's office or necessarily in an interview room at the police department where you interview suspects. And sometimes kids are reluctant to talk about those horrible things. So you need an environment that's soft, that's non-threatening, that's non-coercive, and that's what the Children's Center is.
Whenever we get the videotapes from the interviews done with the children, very high quality, very great sound. It's a comfortable setting for the children. It's a more relaxed environment, so the children feel more at ease when they come in to give a statement. It's given us an opportunity to have better statements from children because they feel comfortable in the Western Slope Center for Children, which leads to more better case preparation, better case analysis, and in the end, more convictions.
This woman came and asked if I could see her, so I went and see her. We did this exam to help me get proof that he did it so he could get the justice that he deserves.
Forensic means that it's an interface between the legal system and the healthcare system. So the evidence that we collect in terms of forensic will include the interview, though we do a medical history, not a forensic history, looking head to toe at a child in the case of physical injury or injury in the genital area, injury in the mouth. Evidence is what we're seeking. There are times when we care for a child within 72 hours, sometimes 96 hours of an assault, of having been victimized, and in that case we will use a kit from the Colorado Bureau of Investigation which clearly delineates the evidence that we need to collect. So it can be as specific as hair, body fluids, injury. We will capture injury on photograph using a colposcope, it's a microscope on wheels. Head to toe, if I opened a forensic kit, I may be getting hair from the head, hair from the pubic region, I may be getting swabs from the mouth, I may be swabbing a bite mark, I'm going to be capturing on photo any injury that I could get on a photo. But it really starts with eliciting a history. My documentation is part of the evidence. It's a child's story. We do the narrative, we do a traumagram so that I've always got a diagram of a child, boy or girl, and based on that we find out the child's language for body parts to clarify the history. I diagram any sort of findings that I found, as do my SANE sisters, on a diagram, and then we might move into photography. But the mission from our standpoint is well, we're a team here at Western Slope Center for Children. When you're working as a forensic nurse examiner, and our mission under SANE is to avoid re-traumatizing a child who's already been traumatized. So it's ideal here, because if you've ever had to provide this sort of care in an emergency room or in a typical physician's office, for one, you lack many of the resources you would need, but you lack the privacy and the intimacy and the feeling of safety that a building like this can, well, not just the building, the entire team can offer up to a child and their family.
Eventually it got to the point where all of my feelings were so overwhelming I just couldn't hold it in anymore, and I wanted to talk to somebody.
There is no set process that every victim goes through. Some deal with issues right up front, and we're able to help them and help the family deal with behaviors and traumatic characteristics that they're displaying, and process how that abuse has affected them at different times in their lives, and help them be prepared for the fact that it may surface again many times throughout their lives, and they need to know that there is assistance out there for them always.
Every time I come here, when I have problems like that, I am able to talk to Joan, and she helps me get over my fears, get over all these problems that I have with my feelings, and accomplish the stuff that I need to accomplish.
I really thank the center so much for helping us feel like we can survive this, because we've got years to go. We're not healed yet. It just happened, and sorry.
The center, it doesn't push you. It lets you have freedom, yet it helps you in a way that's unspeakable. I mean, it is such a great place that all you can do is smile. You don't know how to explain it because it's such a great place.
As we were leaving the facility, I left with the mom and the child, and we went out to the parking lot. And as I was getting in my car, I heard footsteps behind me, and I turned and looked, and here comes this 8-year-old little girl running across the parking lot at full speed. And she jumped into my arms and hugged my neck, almost knocked me down, and said, "Thank you, thank you."
We've been associated with the center for 5 years, and we are still coming on a regular basis for counseling. And it has made my children stronger as a result of knowing that they have a support system here at the center. It has made me stronger.
It couldn't be done without the commitment that is provided by not only by the staff here, but by the community, and the donations and the support that comes from the community in order for this nonprofit center to be what it is today.
Now I just think it's one of the best places they could have ever built. And this establishment is really a great place, and I'm glad that they thought about people who were going through this situation.
I feel safe right now. I got power now. I'm not stupid now or nothing. I'm good. Be a good girl I am now. I'm safe here.
I know that this will probably never stop in my lifetime, but the way that we attend to it and care for it and sustain that sort of care is going to take resource. We're a nonprofit. It means all of what we do, there isn't a dollar to be made, but there certainly is a dollar necessary to keep doing what it is that we do. One of the really neat things we do here at Western Slope Center for Children, it touches me because, for one, I'm not very crafty, but because there are women and men in this community that make quilts, an endless number of quilts so that each time a child leaves Western Slope Center for Children, they can leave with a quilt. And it's generally a quilt that we have wrapped around them, let them pick out. And kids who can read will notice that it will say, "This was quilted for you with love," by total strangers. So that notion of these incredible quilts quilted by people I don't know, I know they were quilted with love, and that I have the privilege, the ability to wrap around a child, and then when a child can read that, and that's all volunteer. I don't know where that comes from. We often have to take children's clothing from them because of the forensic evidence. It may be the only outfit they had. So that resource of clothing, we always leave, a child leaves here clothed, and that's head-to-toe clothing. We can't do it without help. I've never been part of anything quite like it. I teach at the college. I've been a nurse practitioner for 13 years, an RN for over 22 years, but I've never been part of something here where I watched adults come forward so unselfishly, committed 24/7 to a child. Wow, powerful.